Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. So, what's the latest absurdity coming from the pulpit these days? That the Pope is not needed, and that women should be ordained as Catholic priests, not to mention bishops. Truth be told, some Catholic priests have been blathering on like this for decades in articles and interviews. Father Richard McBrien at Notre Dame is a prime example. But I submit to you, when the priest is the very public Father Pfleger of the Archdiocese of Chicago, whose archbishop is Cardinal Francis George, the near lunacy of the ramblings take on a whole different dimension. Cardinal George is the president of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the USCCB. This group routinely publishes reams of documents and statements on everything from illegal immigration to health care to nuclear war to social justice. If it's a social justice issue, the bishop's staff is right there, pen in hand, writing a heady statement about equality and fairness and justice. But when the matter is theological and has to do more with men's souls than social justice, where are all the publications? Case in point, Father Michael Pfleger, the priest who made headlines during the campaign for his associations with the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, as well as his support for Obama, has caused a storm of controversy inside the church. You see, he recently gave a homily, if you can call it that, where he screamed that women should be priests, and later on said, "We no longer need a high priest, and we don't need the Pope." Listen for yourselves. It's all right here.
All by myself, now that I can have once again that intimacy and that fellowship, and I don't need a high priest. I don't need the Pope. I don't need the Cardinal. I don't need the patriarchs. I don't need the prophets. I don't need nobody. I can go to God for myself. Some of you ought to shout, because you don't need nobody to take you where you can go. That's why there should be women priests. That's why there should be married priests. That's why there should be women bishops and women cardinals.
Now, here's what's curious. This priest is in open defiance of teachings of the church, not disagreeing with how a church teaching should best be expressed, but with the very teaching itself. In fact, a number of them. Not only women priests, but women bishops as well. And notice, as he gets all worked up in a raving lunatic lather, he's just getting ready to say a woman pope, but he stops just short of that. His career must have been on his mind. First, on the issue of women priests, where he made his comments during Easter Sunday Mass, Pfleger has now backpedaled a little bit, issuing a sort of apology. He said, quote, "I believe women ought to be able to be ordained. While this is my personal opinion, I do respect and follow the Catholic Church teachings, and I am sorry I failed to do this," end quote. As young people say, whatever, Father. His opinions don't matter. What matters is his teaching the faith. Why does he think his opinions are so important? Quite frankly, who cares what he thinks? Later on, as you heard, he said, the Pope isn't needed. Laying aside the fact that that news might come as a bit of a shock to Jesus Christ, who instituted the papacy, the truth is, this is just another example of the idiocy that has been allowed to run wild in the church in America for decades now. Who's hurt here? Well, let's count, shall we? First of all, Father Pfleger himself for preaching heresy. Secondly, his audience, his congregation, who have a right to authentic Catholic doctrine, not the wild-eyed histrionics of a stage performer. Talk about social justice. Where's the justice for the people sitting in the pews who are deprived of Catholic truth? And last but not least, by any means, the office of the Archbishop, and by extension, all bishops. Why? Because Archbishop George has let this fellow prance up and down the altar for years with his neo-Protestant ravings disguised as Catholic truth, and the Cardinal has allowed it to continue. In fact, just days after this Protestant play was performed, the Cardinal handed Father Pfleger a Lifetime Achievement Award for social justice. Yep, you heard right. Now, to be fair, perhaps the Cardinal may not have known the exact story of Father Pfleger's wicked comments defying church teaching because they just happened a couple of days earlier. Perhaps he didn't know, but he knows now. No one wins when authentic Catholic truth is squashed. Not the priest, not the people, and not the bishop. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.